Hey, hello. Welcome to episode number 62 of the People We Love podcast. I am Adam Choit. What's up? If you're new here, what I do is interview people from all walks of life, often comedians and other artists, about their lives and careers. It's casual conversation, but I also ask everyone to highlight someone they love, someone who they admire, who influenced them, inspired them, or supported them. For more, check out peoplewelovepodcast.com. That's peoplewelovepodcast.com. And the Instagram handle is peoplewelovepodcast. And I'm on Instagram as well, Adam Choit, my name. And remember to tap subscribe or follow on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. And of course, 5-star positive reviews on iTunes are greatly appreciated as well. So, today's guest is comedian and actor Tema Sall. Born and raised right here in Los Angeles, she was able to overcome her ADD as a kid and became a good student, a well-rounded person who enjoyed theater, the arts, sports, and more. Tema has pretty much always been into comedy too, and upon discovering Saturday Night Live and the great Chris Farley in particular, her life and career path became that much more driven towards entertainment and the arts. From LA to Indiana University and back to LA, Tema Sall is a grateful and grounded person who loves Chris Farley, just like me. So let's just get into this one. Here's Tema Sall. So it's good to see you today, Tema Sall.
You too.
Thank you for dropping by the studio. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure.
How's your day going?
It's been going. It's a good day.
It is.
Today is a good day. I woke up this morning feeling pretty excited about what's coming, what's next.
Oh, yeah? Anything specific? We can get into it later.
Sure. No, I'm happy to talk about it. I was in a SAG indie feature last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, called The Nowhere Inn, and it got into Sundance.
Wow.
So I went to Sundance, and then when I landed in Sundance, my co-worker, she called me and she told me that we got into South by Southwest as well.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now that you mentioned, I did see pictures of you on Instagram with snow in the background.
That was Park City,
I'm
baby.
putting one and one together right now.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Piecing it together, yeah.
So here's the exciting thing. It also got into Tribeca.
Wow.
I just found out last night.
And this is a feature that you were in.
And so I know the first AD of the feature, and he and I know each other from working on set over the past 10 years, 11, going on 11. And he just hit me up. He said, I'm looking for 2 female background actors with strong comedic timing. And I need someone to play a camera operator. That would be you. And then I need a boom operator. And I brought on my friend Erica, and they loved her as well. And then we ended up getting the part, and we were in 14 out of the 15 shooting days. And then they said that we'll upgrade you on the last day, and they did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
very exciting.
We're in the whole film. It's really cool. It's The Nowhere Inn. So
when are those when is South by Southwest?
South by Southwest, we're going to be screening the movie on Saturday, March 21st at 8 p.m. at the Paramount Theater.
And when is Tribeca?
Tribeca is April 15th through April 26th.
And you're going there too.
I'm going to planning on it,
Very
baby.
exciting.
Hell yes. So
Very
cool.
exciting.
I mean, this is a dream to be able to do what you love. And then you get to go and travel to places, to be able to be a part of it, to meet people, to just do what you love. It's a dream.
Well, we'll get into it, and you could tell me if that's always been your dream and what you've always loved. So,
yes, sir.
Why don't we get into your life story? And you can tell me start from birth and the hospital and driving home, and tell me what you remember about that.
Well, I remember every moment. I do. Driving.
Drove yourself?
Drove myself. I got a baby license very quickly, straight out of the womb. It was great.
A BDL, baby driver's license.
That's what they call them back in the day. Because they're no longer legal, but It's okay. So I grew up in Los Angeles and grew up in the Fairfax Melrose area until.
I know where that is. A high school and a flea market on the weekends.
You betcha, baby. Yeah. So grew up there until about 4, and then lived in the Oakwood Apartments. It was the Oakwood Apartments. Now I think it's Archwood. It's up near, on Barham.
Yeah, a few people who have sat there have lived in Oakwood.
Sure.
At least a couple, yeah.
It's a very transitional, very transitional place.
Why does everyone end up there? Is it because it's centrally located and there's a lot of amenities and it's a community? What is it?
For several reasons, to each their own, of course, but it's very close to the studios. So a lot of like child actors who, for instance, move from out of town, a lot of them settle into that apartment complex. I believe leases vary, of course, but yeah, it's pretty convenient for a lot of people. So we lived there though, just for like 6 months, I want to say, because my folks bought a house in Toluca Lake. And we moved into my house on my 5th birthday. My mom said that she had to remember a date that we moved into the house. And she said, well, I'm not going to forget my daughter's date, at least.
She would forget the day if it wasn't already associated with something else?
Oh, no. She makes a joke of it.
Yeah. No, that's something nice or interesting or cool or
the
memorable.
best birthday gift I'll ever have,
right.
You know?
And that's the house you grew up in?
It is.
From 5 years old till
now. My parents are still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's great. So...
You got siblings?
I have a younger brother. My younger brother, Noah, 6.5 years apart.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what do you remember about like growing up in that house when you were 5, 6, 7 years old? What kind of kid were you? What were you doing for fun? Were you already into comedy at that point?
I was definitely.
Performing?
I was participating in some school plays. Like at the age of 7, I definitely was starting to explore that area of like theater. But even before that, like I was always painting or drawing or like playing sports. I've always been a very active child.
Where does that come from? Is that your parents signing you up for things? Is that you wanting to do things? Is it someone else influencing you?
It's my parents trying to tame my ADD that was diagnosed at a very...
Did you really have ADD? Or
Absolutely.
Or is that like or just you're a hyperactive kid?
No, I was diagnosed when I was in 3rd grade. Yeah. It's super real. Been on medication and everything. So
are you still...
I'm still on it.
Does it help?
It does for me. Yeah. I believe that medication is not for everyone.
Yeah. Or different amounts or different medications.
Absolutely. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Everyone's programmed differently. So there shouldn't be any judgment about it. And I think I like talking openly about that too. I think it's interesting. For example, Adam Levine, who has ADHD, he actually years ago, I know he was promoting a campaign of like own my ADHD. Just like, I think it's important to be able to know and be in touch with who you are and what you have, like, especially if it's a clinical diagnosis. So I'm open about it. I've become more open about it.
That's good. How did that affect you when you were a kid? You were just hard to pay attention, very hyperactive. Like what were the symptoms for you?
So for me, I had reading comprehension difficulties as well. When it came to school, like my attention span, I noticed how medication actually did help me in that regard. It was almost like putting glasses on my brain.
Yeah.
That was kind of like what it felt like. But for me, what was helpful was actually having multiple activities to participate in. So like whether it was martial arts or like pottery or painting, piano or drum lesson, like just all kinds of things.
Keeping your mind busy, keeping your body busy, but also focused in a way.
Mind, body, and soul, like connecting it all together. Yeah,
I'm working on it.
Hey,
you figured it out when you were a kid. It sounds like
I was
mind,
very
body, soul. You were already reading. I was like a 6-year-old, like,
a little Buddha, little Judah.
Mom, I have ADHD. Can I read a book about that?
Yeah, well.
Myself?
I mean, I was not a strong test taker either. And also socially, there were times where like, it was a little, I wouldn't say it was awkward, but like, sometimes I would get picked on and bullied and, either like, because I was either too slow or just not picking up on something.
That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. There was one girl actually, when I was in the bathroom, how
old were you at this time?
I want to say 9 or 10, something like that. 8, 9, or 10, right in that pocket, right? Yeah. So I was in the bathroom and it was lunchtime or recess, one of those snack time, right? So I come out of the stall and she is in the bathroom and she says, "Here, do you want some of my fruit roll up?" And I said, "Oh, that's really sweet of you. Thank you." And I took it and I bit into it and it was the wax that you wrap around those Bluebell cheeses, the little...
Oh, it's that red paper, yeah.
Yeah, that bitch. She gave me that thinking like, anyway, so that sucked.
Did you kick her ass on the spot?
No.
Let's go get her now. Was it retribution ever had?
No. I mean, karma is a bitch,
Yeah,
right?
it's something bad probably happened to her, but not
It
not anything
did.
too bad.
It
But
did,
something.
but I don't want to talk about
Okay,
it.
we don't have to talk about that. That's a decent prank though. I guess that material does look like a fruit roll up.
Yeah.
A lot of thought went into this on her part.
Dude, it was just like, why would you do that to torment a girl?
Yeah, so it sounds like school wasn't maybe the most fun.
I mean, that was just one of the low points.
Yeah, and some of the things, the difficulties. But it sounded like you were a busy kid, like with the activities, and that's probably what brought you joy is not academics and not some of your classmates.
I mean, what also brought me a lot of joy was TV and movies and like really getting versed into music and culture. My dad was a big Grateful Dead fan, big Deadhead. Also loves Bruce Springsteen, Billy Joel. Just brought me up on like a bunch of really great music. Yeah. And then
all the stuff I like.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Classic good.
Rock,
yeah. And then sprinkled with some comedy here and there. And then that's also when I started watching Saturday Night Live. So for me, I was really engaged with these characters that I saw on TV. And it was another way for my brain to connect with something that I felt was really extraordinary. And I would say, I mean, my favorite is Chris Farley.
And this was, and you were getting to him and SNL and the comedy. Yeah. It was all like when you were elementary school, basically. Age.
I remember 5th, 6th grade, maybe, I want to say, something like that. It was definitely at my elementary school. Yeah.
So you were probably watching when you got into Chris Farley. That that must have been like DVDs or old episodes or reruns, or was he still on? Maybe.
So
he was on until about 93, 94, maybe something.
So like that. I was in 5th or 6th grade when he passed. Just remember being so heavily influenced by his physical comedy. It just shook me. It just like for the better. He had such an endearing quality about him. He was just this fluffy fat guy who just, was the best friend, but also like the front guy. He was just, everyone loved him. And he was so raw and honest. And I think that for me always resonated in terms of, especially as an actor, as a comedian, like sometimes we push ourselves because we're trying too hard, but you can't, you shouldn't. That's not how you should go about it. You got to be natural. You got to just like be
He was
present.
natural.
That's what
you
I'm
never
saying.
got the sense that like when he jumped through tables, it's like, oh, I'm gonna jump through this table because it's outrageous.
Right.
He was that's just him.
He committed to everything with 1,000% behind him, and he just, because you could tell he loved it.
Yeah.
And that to me was such an inspiration at such a young age that I feel like it really set the tone for me in terms of like heroes.
What's any particular SNL moments, skits that you recall that are your favorites? You were already jumping into my head.
Of course. I mean, living in a van down by the river.
Yeah, van down by the river
is classic. And then, of course, Chippendales.
That's what I was thinking about. I'll admit it.
Good. It's just so hilarious. Brilliant. And no shame, no nothing. It was just brilliant. And then, honestly, I love his just innocence and endearing quality on the Chris Farley show.
Oh yeah, with Paul he did with Paul McCartney, and I think he did.
Yeah,
that was like.
And then Christopher Walken.
I think did he do Arnold Schwarzenegger? He did Arnold. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger also. Those are the best.
You remember when you're. He's just so sweet. I love him.
He's actually. You think part of him is actually nervous when he's doing those interviews and he's channeling legitimate nerves, or is he acting like a nervous person? Because it seems so real. Like I could almost see like that's how like shy Chris Farley would act.
I think that he was doing an extension of himself.
Right.
Because that's what character actors do as well, is that it's hard to just put on. You can put on a costume, sure, you could wear it, but to really play a character, you're playing a character, you're playing it because it's a part of you. It's like
You're
something.
an actor. Look at that. You're an
Yeah,
actor. Oh, that's cool.
absolutely. I mean, like your job as an actor also is to be game. Like you're supposed to play these different roles, but like be game for it, to go places, to really take it to the level it's supposed to be taken to, or even one that no one ever expected. So there's just, that was the thing. He was a part of the unexpected. He was so exciting.
Yeah, he's just so different from anyone else. I mean,
He was a standout.
Yeah, I mean, people make like the Belushi comparisons.
Same as well.
Just because a big guy doing physical comedy, but beyond that, they're definitely their own.
They're special. They're their own, they're their own type. They're their own archetype. They're their own set the tone.
So what happened after you sort of like discovered SNL, Chris Farley, some comedic influence, some music influences? You're going through middle school or whatever?
Yeah.
What's life like then?
So I started doing plays in elementary school. I was part of this theater summer program called Classical Kids. And that was a lot of Shakespeare and Greek mythology, original written like plays.
So
you're
really like
cool.
a 12-year-old doing Shakespeare?
Yeah, I did dabble a little bit in Shakespeare. Yeah,
and you enjoyed that.
Shakespeare's tough, man. Shakespeare's a little dense. But
here's my critique of it's not even a critique of Shakespeare, but it's that I don't understand that language, even though it's in English.
Yeah.
It's a totally different language, so it's like. We should be translating. We should be learning American. I guess. I mean, you can. There's, I'm sure, versions out there of that. But I feel like that's what we should be learning. Does anyone speak Shakespeare in English anywhere in any part of England or some other place? Or
no, can't tell you if I know that for a fact. I don't know. I don't know. Probably not.
We don't read extinct languages anymore.
We sure don't. What happened to thy day?
People just think it sounds nice and romantic, so we stick with it.
That day hath goneth.
Yeah, I hope it does.
What can I say?
Yeah. So tell me more. Anyway, I went on a rant.
And then I ended up doing another theater program called Teenage Drama Workshop in my like getting into high school years, and did that for 4 summers, and just kept training.
Heavy acting, heavy theater.
Yeah, I was a theater junkie when I was growing up. That was my thing.
What about the rest of academics? Were you
pretty? Yeah, just
okay. You're good.
Oh yeah, I was a good student. Yeah, well rounded. I always had a lot on my plate. I studied hard. I worked very hard.
Why? Why work so hard at school?
Because
I worked kind of hard enough, but why did you work particularly hard?
I mean, I didn't hurt myself. I didn't I didn't pull any, any morsels.
No injuries?
No injuries to report. Knock on wood. No. So my parents were always very hardworking people. So I always looked up to them, and they were a great example, still are, of hard work and love and building a foundation and setting yourself up for the long run. So
yeah, my parents are all those things, but something that I don't know, it might have missed. I'm working on it. We're getting there.
Swim into it.
But okay, so you're enjoying high school. You're doing the theater thing. You're a good student.
Found comedic timing. Certainly at 12.
You found comedic timing at 12.
Yeah, I mean, on stage. I always had comedic timing, but there was a role that I played in a 10-minute play festival in my first year at Tadwa that was just I got a lot of laugh breaks. I remember when I performed it.
Yeah.
And it was just, that was kind of when it was oh, I really like the feeling of getting laughs.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah.
I could tell the timing.
Oh, really?
See what I mean? You're doing it right now. Oh, man. You got to fucking keep me on my toes.
I mean, what can I say? I'm being me.
Who else can you be?
No, I don't want to be anyone else.
Yeah. Except when you're acting, then but even like you said, you're still an extension.
An extension. Yeah. Got to be true.
Acting.
And it's funny because you have acting and you have stand-up comedy. As a stand-up, for stand-up comedy, you have to be yourself.
Yeah.
Through and through. You have to be okay by yourself, alone with yourself, alone on stage. Alone in life, being okay alone in life does transfer being okay alone on stage, I feel. But being okay alone as in you don't have to always be in loneliness. You can have solitude as well. I mean, there's a difference.
What the hell did you just say?
There's a difference.
What are you're saying that like because it's just you and being alone as a stand-up comedian on stage that helps being alone in real life, or they're related somehow?
The other way, yeah. If you are okay being alone, like in your own life, your personal life, that I feel also translates really well on stage.
It's helpful.
I think so.
Gotcha.
It's just what I've seen. Like if you can accept that you can be okay alone when you're by yourself, then that translates well on stage.
Codependent people, not the best stand-up comedians?
I shouldn't. That's a stretch.
I'm asking.
No, I don't think that's fair to say at all. I think because I know a lot of codependent people who are fantastic comedians. Yeah. Everyone's different. You can't,
Yeah, they probably work that into their material.
Sure. I mean, anything's material, right?
No, that's right.
I think that everyone's direction is different, and we're just all trying to figure it out, at your own pace, at your own rate, at your own distance, whatever it is. Everyone's programmed differently.
Yeah, no doubt. What about after high school? What happened? Where do we go from there?
Went to college. And went to Indiana University.
So you wanted to get out of LA?
Wanted to get out. My parents always I don't want to say pushed it, but they definitely encouraged. That's But
Indiana is far. Why not go to somewhere?
Well, I wanted to go to the East Coast, but then the airplane dropped me off in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So
you didn't make it all the way.
Couldn't make it to the East Coast. East Coast wouldn't take me, but the Midwest would.
Yeah.
So I went to Indiana. It was my second choice. So I went, my first choice was Boston University, and I didn't get in, and that's okay. Went to IU.
I didn't get into Boston either.
Oh, well, fuck Boston. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. And so we love you. No,
it's probably more of a reach for me. And more of a disappointment for you.
Oh, it's what it is.
I guess.
We could sit here and analyze the fuck out of it. I don't give a shit. It's in the past. So IU was great. I went to Indiana. I was there for 4 years. I majored in theater and drama and communications and culture, and I minored in Spanish. So I did double major and then a minor.
A double major and a minor. Mm-hmm. You're a hard-working person over there.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy your college experience?
Absolutely loved it.
Even beyond academics, but even
I had a great time in college.
Well, that's a fun.
I'm a fun person.
You're like, I'm a fun person.
I'm a fun hang. I mean, but I'm also like a good friend, a loyal human being. I genuinely love human connection. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
it's cool.
I'm trying to have more of it in my life.
I think that we all need a little more of it.
Yeah, not too much though. I don't want
that. Take it easy, okay? Slow down. Yeah. We
don't want that.
That meter's going off. No, it's fine.
So college was cool.
Yeah, I mean, college was very shaping, especially with relationships.
The being away from home thing
away from home was a big thing. That helped me.
Was that a hard adjustment at all for you, or no?
No.
Did you know anyone at IU?
Going in, yes, but I built a lot of really great relationships
when you're just
there.
saying you know someone in the end, there's 50,000 people there, unless they're your roommate or something like that. But even then, it's it's hard not to branch out.
Well, we should always be looking for other people to meet. It's
always our whole lives.
I think that we're meant to meet as many people as possible. Yeah. Building relationships are great. Not everyone has to do it not everyone's extroverted, not everyone's introverted, everyone we've established. So I think that it's fun to meet new people. I enjoy meeting new people, but not if it's forceful.
How many people can one remember in their lives?
I don't know. It depends on the person's memory.
How many jelly beans are in the jar type question.
Yeah, right.
There's got to be a limit. There's no way. If you keep meeting people, you can't remember more than 5,000 people. That's why that's the Facebook limit.
That's the limit on Facebook.
I didn't even think of that when I said that.
Well, I think that people come into our lives for a reason, and I think that they inspire us, and so it's that memory that's created out of that inspiration that makes us think about them.
Yeah, I'm going to listen back to that later, and it's going to feel that's going to be some deep.
Hell yeah, that's what's up. That's what I'm going for. Yeah, good. I'm glad.
No, I got
little
you.
gem, gem drop.
So you came back to LA, and was that a tough adjustment? Well, I'm assuming you came back to LA after.
I did. Well, actually, funny enough, today's March 4th, and today marks 11 years from when I started stand-up comedy. I started it my second semester of my senior year at IU.
Okay, well then let's rewind a little bit. Tell me about that and that experience and what brought you to it. I mean, you were already performing, loved comedy, so it seemed natural.
Well, I did a few plays when I was at IU. I did a few main stage shows, and then my senior year, I was like, I want to get involved with something comedy related. So I auditioned for a sketch comedy group, and it was called All Sorts of Trouble for the Boy in the Bubble. And I made it past the first round, but I didn't make it past the second round. And then I was like, all right, well, back to square one. What do we do now? Second semester rolls around, and Jeff Grafton, who was an MFA student at the time, he was one of the most talented actors to ever grace any stage. And he played so many wonderful roles. And to hear that he was going to go do stand-up for his second time in his life at the local comedy club, which at the time was the Funny Bone. It's now the Comedy Attic. We all end up going out to support him because he was doing the open mic night, which was every Wednesday night. So that was back in like February of 2009. Yeah. So we all went out. He killed it. It was so much fun. And then we all went out to drink afterwards at this bar called the Upstairs Pub. And we were sitting there drinking. And I remember saying to Jeff, I was like, Jeff, I was so inspired by what you just did on stage. I think I want to try stand-up comedy. And he said, well, Tema, I think that you should. You're funny, you're Jewish, and you have something that's going for you. So 2 weeks later, I got up on stage. I had a 5-minute set, and I kept going back every single
Tell
Wednesday.
me about that first 5-minute set.
First 5 was cool. Just had to put together some jokes. It was pretty basic like basic writing, but like some funny concepts. And what I got as feedback from the very first time I ever did stand up, I was told that my stage presence is my dynamite. It's like, that's my wheelhouse. I'm very comfortable on stage.
Because I have not seen you perform live.
That's
actually,
right.
But I was watching some on the internet.
Yeah.
And I did observe what you're telling me right now.
Okay.
I don't know if that's something that, I'm sure it's something you've been developing over the years, but it sounds like initially it was something that you at least had,
stage presence.
Degree, yeah.
Comfortability on stage. That comes from all the years of theater growing up. Yeah. I learned very early on, like, the feeling of what it's like to be on stage.
What is that feeling like?
When I first got on stage, I just remember like the spotlight and just like the crowds, and just like, it was a very cool, cleansing sort of feeling. It was just like, I felt like I was home. I just felt very, I was always a ham when I was growing up. And I always liked to be big and bold and just like, very out there. But I found a way where you don't always have to be like that when you're on stage, but rather you could always feel that way.
Right.
And so, and that's the cool thing about acting, and the cool thing about stand-up is that every show is different. Every role is different. Every time you are in front of an audience and you're doing a 5 to 10 minute set, like, that's going to be different from any other show. Everything's different.
No doubt. So you loved it right away, it sounds like, and you kept going with it. This was your senior year, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And then you moved back to LA.
And then I moved back to LA.
I
did it for about 2.5 years when I moved back to LA, because the transition in moving back to LA, I moved back and I started living at home with my family. And I started working a lot of background acting. I ended up joining AFTRA, the union, and it was before SAG and AFTRA merged. But I joined AFTRA 9 months after I graduated from college. So I signed up with Central Casting in October 2009, and then I joined after in February 2010. So I was doing background acting, set PA work, babysitting, stand-up comedy, and any other sort of like side hustle.
Sounds
about right.
Yeah, sounds pretty
exactly.
standard.
It's so right out of college, pretty much. And then did that for 2.5 years. And then I landed a job at an entertainment marketing agency, just small little group. And it was out in Santa Monica. So I was doing a commute from Toluca Lake to Santa Monica Monday through Friday, 10 hours in traffic every week.
Oh, man.
So that, unfortunately, did take away a lot of my time, but at the same time, I'm grateful for the experience that I had. It actually has really helped shape me and has provided a very strong foundation for what I've built on since then.
In the entertainment, working for this entertainment marketing company? What you learned there?
Well, it had a lot to do with promos and sales presentations and music and licensing and just how you build and tell a story in a matter of a minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, just it helped a lot with producing and building scripts and writing copy and connecting with clients and seeing another world I never was exposed to.
Yeah, you answered that question and then some.
Thank you. Too much? Okay.
No, that was good.
Yeah.
I didn't expect, not that I hadn't had any expectations, but I was like, oh, that's good stuff. I'm like, that's all shit I need to be working on. God damn it. Jesus.
Well, I honestly, Adam, like looking back on what I've done over the course of time, I've been building a foundation because I think it's important to be well-rounded in this industry in production, pre-production, regular production, post-production. To understand how this machine operates is important. And it's one thing to see it, it's another to understand it. And then you want to be able to be a part of that. So I like a well-oiled machine. So I like to really understand what's going on. And you can never stop learning. There's always something to learn in this industry. And find the things that you like that like pull you in.
What don't you like? I mean, I guess even, obviously there's parts of entertainment, but specifically maybe even within film or TV or even stand-up comedy, like what don't you like about, what would you not like want to do? Or is there, I mean, that's kind of maybe a ridiculous question.
It's not a ridiculous question. There are things that I don't like. I mean, I don't like the editing aspect of post-production. It's not my territory. I've tried to adapt to it. I know basic editing. Right. And also timing plays into that. And I like that aspect of it. But it was always difficult for me to like grasp onto like the Avid and Final Cut Pro when it came to that stuff.
A lot of technical stuff that takes time to master.
Stuff. Yep. That's it. And I didn't really have the patience or the time for that. So, because I also have I'm a very creative type. So I like to be able to create things with my mind or write or build things or paint, like just expression. And I felt with technical, it was harder to express that. So that's something I don't like.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like that too.
I
think, maybe.
There's things in comedy that I don't like. I don't like when people disrespect the craft.
Yeah.
I don't like when people...
that's more specific things that you just don't like about comedy, but I was asking more about like what don't you want
what don't you like about life?
Yeah, we can go into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can go into that too.
I want universal health care.
Yeah, I don't like this, I want that.
I'm grateful. I'm just grateful for everything that I have. Good. I think it's important.
Yeah, for sure. So you were back in LA, you're doing comedy for 2.5 years, and you were doing all these jobs and whatnot.
And then I got a job doing the entertainment marketing, and then comedy kind of took a backseat. I kind of was trying to figure some things out because I felt like I was a little lost in the world. Because every time I go on stage, like I had these jokes, but I felt like my writing was kind of lacking structure. And that was something I found over time. And I think it actually clicked later down the line for me. But it's important to know joke structure.
Did you ever take any stand-up writing class? It sounded like you did not.
Well, initially. I took this one class. I didn't even finish it. It was Judy Carter's stand-up class.
This was in LA.
Yeah, this was years ago. It was back in 2009. But the thing is that you can't teach stand-up comedy, I don't think. I think that you can give tools to better understand it, to help you build better jokes. And but the truth is that you have to write it, you have to do it, you have to watch it. That's how you get better at stand-up. And you just keep on doing reps. And you find you're funny over time. And every stage is different. Every audience is different. And I think with what I experienced also was a shift in my life during that time, which was like 2011, 2012. I ended up meeting someone and I got into a relationship. I was in a relationship with him for 4.5 years. So my priorities kind of shifted a little bit, and stand up, because I wasn't like quite figuring it out. And then I found love. I was like, wanting to build something else. But then I continued to do stand up. Like I did a show and a mic every year, but that was like it for about 3.5 years. I really kind of stepped out of it. And I found myself coming back to it, and I ended up actually really coming back into it, and even harder than the first time. I just like threw myself head first, and it was back in July 2016.
What brought you back?
Well, I went through a breakup. My ex and we broke up, and then I went through like a really shaping summer. I was working on a TV show called Roadies for Showtime. I was standing in full time for it. So I was really busy with that job. And then I had this I got back into stand up that summer, and I kept going to mics and working some background gigs. And then I landed a stand-in gig on
sounds like it was kind of organic a little bit.
Yeah, well,
it wasn't a conscious decision that I'm going to dive full on into stand. You kind of dabbled and got more and more into it.
Things kind of fell back into place, but in an even more natural way. Yeah, it was very organic. I think it was just when you love something, and if you are passionate about it, it might take time to really figure out, but like it's always going to find its way back to you. Or you're always going to find your way back to it, if it's meant to be, especially. Yeah. So I felt getting back into it was a whole new, like, I was rebranding, like figuring out who I was again, because I felt like in my last relationship, like I gave myself away to my partner. There's a difference between giving yourself away and sharing yourself. Yeah. So I feel like I did more of the giving. And it's okay. You live and you learn, and I'm at peace with it. I've moved on. You just learn as you go through life. Yeah. This got very deep.
That's okay. Oh, these are things we all need to hear. Believe me.
I think it's okay to be open and honest about it.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And what about the other things you've been, working on since 2016 beyond stand-up things?
So I worked on a TV show called Life in Pieces. I stood in on that for 3 seasons, seasons 2 through 4, and I got to play multiple roles on that show as well. I got upgraded for all the 3 seasons. I got to play an Amazon Alexa in season 2.
Your voice.
Yeah, they used my voice. And then Talking Toy Potty on season 3. And then for season 4, because my face hadn't been established on camera yet, I played an artist, an art teacher. So an art instructor specifically. So it was great. It was a lot of fun. So I did that. And then I've stood in on other shows. And then I got to do the Nowhere Inn last year. And then I've just been doing a lot of stand-up. And then also I recorded my first live ukulele comedy album this past November.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. Congratulations
Thank you.
Things are happening.
Things are happening. That's actually in post-production. It's going to be releasing. I'm going to have a release date soon, and it's all happening. And then I have a podcast as well called Sall Good. And
busy. Do you feel busy? You are busy.
Yeah, you know what it is too? It's taking the time to build your brand and really figuring out who you are, and also being marketable, but also like working on your craft, and also being a real human being and going and enjoying your fucking life. Part of my French.
To balance.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
All those things.
It's all of that. So I'm spinning active word, but get rid of trying, because it's not an active word. I hate that word.
Just do?
Yeah. Actively pursuing.
Actively pursuing.
Yeah. I'm currently actively pursuing a voiceover career.
Yeah, I was going to ask about is that something you're pursuing?
It is.
Actively pursuing.
I'm actively pursuing an active voiceover.
That does sound better. That sounds way better than I'm trying to pursue.
It's positive. It's forward. It's moving. It keeps it active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
trying is trying to be active.
Yeah.
We got it.
No more trying.
No more.
Fuck
Get it.
Trying.
Yeah. Kick it.
Yeah.
Kick it to the curb. Yeah. I'm actively pursuing a voiceover career. I met some folks and have been working with them, and it's all been very organic and very fun and shaping, and I'm a sponge right now, and I'm learning a lot, and I've just come to realize I know who I am, I know what I love, and I know that I'm in this for the long haul. So I'm looking at other opportunities besides what I'm currently doing.
Smart.
To be able to invest in for the future as well. So voiceovers is a home for me, I feel.
Do you enjoy the background and the stand-in work? Or what is that? What does that entail?
Do I enjoy it?
Enjoy is not the right word, but I guess good can come of it. Opportunities and connections.
Yes.
And experience.
Totally. The thing that's important to understand is that it's a transitional job, I feel, in a lot of ways. Not to knock it. I've really had some wonderful experiences doing both, especially with stand-in work. It's the greatest. When you get on a crew, you're full-time with a crew, and you get to work with actors and build relationships. And I'm so grateful for a lot of the different shows that I've worked on through that. With background acting, same thing. You get on a crew, you're like, an office regular on a show. It's fun because you are a part of these worlds, and you're building a community together during that show, during the taping. And so what's important to realize is that the stand-in work and background work, that's always going to be there. Know that you should probably not maybe make a career out of it if you want to be able to continue to grow as an actor.
Do you see people doing that?
Absolutely. All the time, of course.
And in a way that's detrimental to what they really want.
Well, it's easy to get complacent, and it's easy to get stuck. And I believe that it's important. We're here on this planet for who knows how long. I think it's important to have fun and make the best of it, the most of it, and reach high with your dreams and your goals. Like, you can do it if you really want it, and it takes time.
You're talking to me right now?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Anyone.
Fucking firing up the troops over here.
I'm
ready to get out there and make things happen.
If you really want something, you got to go after it. You really do. Like, you have to nothing should stop you. You should go after what you love. You got this life. Make the most of it. And it's easy to just sit back and relax and be like, I'm good. I'll let someone else get ahead. It's fine. But it should be more worthwhile than that. Reach for the stars, man. That's it.
That's good advice. A lot of good insights in this.
It's just, it should be fun. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. Be grateful for it, and also check your ego at the door, Is
this stuff that you've learned over the years?
Absolutely.
Or is it stuff that you kind of already knew but just got better at? Or what?
I would say a fine combination of everything. I mean, you should always be learning. I've been very lucky and fortunate with a lot of experience that I've had in the past 11 years now, coming up on 11. And it's just that this industry is also built on relationships and networking and meeting cool artists and people, and just people you connect with. We're here, we're creating things together. What's more cool than that? What's greater than that? Let's kind of connect though, on a deeper level though too, while we're doing it.
Yeah.
Because the deeper you go, I think the more meaningful, the more rooted it is.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you always have these sort of deep perspectives, even as a kid, even before your career and all this stuff?
So
were you always grateful? Were you a grateful? Are kids grateful? Can kids be grateful? Because I feel like I didn't become grateful to like maybe like 3 years ago. I swear to God.
I don't want to say I was spoiled, but I had a really nice upbringing. I was loved. I'm still very loved and supported. My parents support me and my brother unconditionally. And that's always been a strong value in our household. But you felt grateful always. Yeah, I've always been pretty grateful for everything. That's good. I think though, as I've gotten older as an adult, you realize more so like for sure, yeah. But I also this is funny because I had this realization too. My mom was a philosophy major. I see what's going on now. Yeah. So that's where all this stuff comes from. I feel like as I've gotten older, I love connecting with human beings. I love going deep. I love having meaningful conversations. And I think that we owe it to each other to open up a little and share. You don't have to share too much, but I think something to at least get the juices flowing. Yeah, no doubt. We're all connected. What about trivial, meaningless conversations? How do you feel about those? Absolutely fine. It just depends on the environment. Right. Yeah. And sometimes those are good. Yeah. Too. Yeah. What I don't like is when I'm driving for Lyft or Uber and a person will ask, so how long have you been driving for Lyft? I'm like, do you have anything else better to ask? Why is it that I mean, I can guess why you would not want to hear that, but I get it, but it also like that's your icebreaker. Have I ever asked someone that? I've never asked a driver that ever. I don't even want to know. What's your icebreaker, man? Like when you get into an Uber or a Lyft, like, because I'm a very conversational type of gal, and I love a lot of my passengers, but I also want respect there. Boundaries. Yeah. And if you get in and there's a vibe and I'm like, I pick up on that, I'm like, I don't need to talk to you. It's okay. Yeah. And nothing, no disrespect, nothing personal. I want to respect your boundaries. Yeah. I would probably ask, how's your night going? Basic questions. Yeah. And let that segue into something natural. Yeah. What I tend to do is I do get the headphones ready to go and like, little banter at the beginning, headphones on, and then headphones off when we're getting closer a little bit more. That's kind of what I, depending on how far I'm going, tiptoe talking. But I can be won over. By what? By a musical playlist? No, by someone who wants to have conversation. It's easy to do. Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be difficult. I've gone in, like, have my headphones, planning to listen to music or whatever, and then, like, the ride's over and there was conversation. Every ride is different. Yeah. Every experience is different. Do you have any notable, interesting, crazy driving stories? I've got plenty. For Super Bowl Sunday, actually, I picked up a gal had requested me, and when I pulled up, it was her and her husband, and it turns out this husband of hers is a man I dated 10 years ago. Oh, no. I mean... and for an extended period of time? Or? No, it was a couple dates. Okay, it was nothing serious at all, but it was just like, all right, what are the chances? And he did not acknowledge me at all. Oh, he didn't even... Well, it was funny because she was the one who requested, and I knew the name because I'm friends with him on Facebook, even after all these years. And I knew it was him, and so... the last name. You knew her. I knew... She changed her last name to his last name. Nope. I just knew her name because that's who he's married to, and it's on Facebook. Oh, I see. Yeah, you recognize her name already. Yep, and the face. Anyway, so I picked them up, and so they were in my vehicle. I'm driving. I'm like trying to figure out what's a cool way to go about this. Could you cancel the ride? Why would I? Yeah. You don't do things like that. No, I'm not an asshole. Where life takes you. Absolutely. Yeah. And be patient in this process. By the way, that has been a real thing that I have learned through driving for Lyft and Uber, is just being, like, compared to being on set, is that not everyone can walk on a TV set. Like, you have to be signed off by the UPM and also your departments and all that kind of stuff. For Uber and Lyft, anyone can walk into my vehicle. Any walk of life. And I've met a lot of really interesting people and a lot of really cool people. some jerks, but wish them well, that's it. But customer service and being patient and being cool. And honestly, I have low-key been a therapist for a lot of people in the car.
I believe it.
Yeah. Just with conversations that we have. And it's been cool. It's definitely a trip, but,
yeah, that guy didn't acknowledge you.
Well, it's funny. I tried to come up with a cool way to find out like what his name was, because I knew what his name was. And when I said, so if your name, I said to the wife, if your name is so-and-so, that must make you. And he said, Liam. And I was like, that's not his name.
He lied?
He lied. He straight up lied.
Wow.
And then like the wife in the back was like, like what?
Yeah. Yeah, she's gonna make it. Yeah, he didn't do that right either. He should have just said his name. You weren't gonna like bring up the fact that you guys went on.
Why? What's the point? I actually did message, but then I took it back.
You were gonna say good seeing you in the car or something like that.
It's like that's the last time I'm ever giving your ass a lift.
Because he didn't. What could he's just trying to not get. Nothing good can come of it in his marriage by saying, oh, this is what I used to date.
And that's why it's okay to just let it go. But that was one wild sort of situation. Another is I picked up a drunk mom and a drunk mommy and her best friend, and we went to go pick up her child at daycare. And thank God she was not driving because she was not sober.
How was the kid?
The kid was like 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is so going public. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell these stories. Well, hey, what are you gonna do? This gal, she basically, I buckled in the child seat into my car, and she was like, "You're such a great driver. Here you go." And she like tipped me $20, and I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." And so we're driving to the location, and then she tipped me another 20, and then
you should work for her full time.
For real, right? And then I ended up. Long story short, oh man, I made $150 on 110. I made $110 on tips alone from this woman for the trip in total. I think lasted about an hour.
Wait, that's pretty long though. Where the hell was she going?
From North Hollywood just to like 3-4 miles away. And it took an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an adventure. Oh my God, it was wild. But she kept saying, "Here you go, this is for you." It was just like she was my fallen angel that night.
What was the friend saying?
I'm so sorry. I forgive me and my friend.
That's a good impression of
a sad best friend.
Drunk mom.
Here you go, this is for you. Moms. It was a trip. So those are some fun stories. It's been wild. Definitely very humbling to be, and it's also kind of interesting because like I'm from here, so I don't mind taking people around in the town because I get to see places too.
I thought you were going to say that you like being a tour guide because
I kind of partially am at times too. I give I give tips and hidden gems. Like I like suggesting places to go, people to see, places to go, people to eat, not people to eat. That's cannibalism. Places to eat. So it's fun because you make it an adventure. Yeah. You just have to make the most of it.
Like life.
Exactly. It's not always glamorous. It's not always the glitz and the ritz, but especially in this industry, like you have to have side hustles to keep it afloat too. But working on making it full time for me, like my idea of making it.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because that's kind of like usually towards the end of the. I ask everyone, what is your goal, dream, plans?
My idea of making it is to have complete balance of your personal and your professional life and be able to do what you love and be able to know that your bills are paid and your family's fed and you get to go and explore the world and travel.
And this is what your podcast is about.
Finding the ticket to that world. A lot of it. Yeah.
Topic.
Yeah, the balance. Balance is the key word that I like to use. Personal and professional. Because a lot of people, I feel like when they get into their personal life, it's either all about their personal life and not so much professional, or it's the exact opposite, where it's like all about your professional life and not so much personal. A lot of people you hear a lot of people say, I'm too busy, I can't date, or I'm comfortable being alone. I think I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. That's not the case. I don't believe that personally. I don't personally believe that. I believe we're human beings and we're meant to connect and we're meant to share our lives. And I believe that, I don't believe that, we only have one person. I mean, I think you have to get to your one person. I think that you can have one person for the rest of your life. But to get to that, I think that you need to figure out what you need for yourself. And I think
that's hard.
No kidding. Absolutely. It's a journey. But, to really be honest with yourself and know what you want and not being afraid to admit what you want, that's the place I aim to be. I want to be open, transparent, honest, and as truthful as can be to myself. And that's a matter of also knowing thyself and giving yourself permission to be yourself.
Yeah.
That's a huge one. Like, I'm dope as fuck. I know that, but I also know that timing is everything. I feel really good with where I'm at right now. And I know that moving forward, like I'm on the right path. I feel good about that. So yeah, having that, knowing that, I'm good.
Yeah. I feel like the hard thing with the work-life balance is that because when you think of that, I want to have a work-life balance. So it's 50-50 all the time, but that's not how life is. It's like, not. Okay, my work-life balance is going to be 90% life for this week and then all work the next 5 months. You know what I mean? The percentages varies.
Well, if it works for you, then sure. But I think that's also part of the journey is figuring out what works for you.
Yeah.
I mean, hot yoga has been a new thing that I've introduced into my life, that was introduced to my life. And that's been a great way to help me find balance. I think it's important to find the time for yourself.
Yeah.
And to give yourself permission to have that time too.
I'm working on it.
It's okay. Good. That's great. That's an active word. You're working on it.
That's right.
You didn't say you're trying.
I'm actively pursuing having a good work-life
there it is.
Balance.
Yeah. I just think it helps happiness. It helps you find your happiness a little bit more.
Yeah, because you can't really find happiness. You got to look for other things, and happiness just kind of happens.
Yeah.
As a result of other things.
I think so. Yeah. But I think it's also important to go in with clear intentions.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one more.
Sure.
Let you get the hell out of here. If you, had a chance in a previous life and a next life or whatever to, have a sit down with Chris Farley, what would you say to that guy? What would you talk to him about, or how would you imagine that conversation might go?
That would be my favorite thing. And did you see me just light up right now?
A little bit, yeah, for sure.
I'd ask him what was his favorite role. What were the
he's not here.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
No. I'd ask him what his favorite roles were that he would play. I'd ask him what inspired him to really get moving and starting. And just I'd want to hear stories. I wanted to hear stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
you want to listen. Just be there and listen.
Totally.
Be a sponge.
And banter with him.
Yeah. And
just have my hero. Yeah. Seriously. That would be the coolest thing.
What about Spade?
Love Spade. That's
another question.
I love.
Question.
Yeah. I love Spade. I think he's so fantastic. He's so fucking funny too. I had the pleasure of meeting him when I worked on Roadies. I went up to him and I just introduced myself. I haven't seen him since. So, hopefully our paths will cross in the comedy world as well. I believe that it'll be meant to happen. It'll happen in time. So, but yeah, I love Spade. Sandler. Adam Sandler is one of my heroes and someone I absolutely would love nothing more than to work with.
Yeah, I think you need to besides work with Spade and Sandler,
I would love
just
that.
to tell them how much you love Chris Farley.
He's my hero.
I think they will and would appreciate that. That would be cool.
Yeah. Aw, that would make me feel so. That would honestly, having that would do it for me. That falls into making it in comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having that dinner conversation with the greatest, some of the greats, some of the masters of the craft, for sure.
No doubt. Well, I appreciate your time for sure. Why don't you tell everyone one more time, or, not one more time, but how they can find you, follow you, anything else you're working on?
Sure. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Tema Sall, and you can follow my podcast at Sall Good Pod, and keep an eye out for my album coming out. It's most likely coming out in April. So that's what's happening next. And then, just follow me for shows as well. And North Carolina Comedy Festival, that's coming up in a couple weeks.
Nice.
In South by Southwest. So
traveling around.
Doing it, fam. We're doing it. We out here.
Got it. Talk soon.
All right. Bye.
So there you have it. My conversation with Tema Sall. Damn, that was a lot of fun. At least for me. I was entertained and inspired. I don't know. I felt like she was telling me a bunch of things in that conversation that I just needed to hear. For real, though, I thank Tema for her time. Anyway, for everything about this show, of course, head to peoplewelovepodcast.com. And I think that's about all I got for today. I appreciate you guys listening. Thanks as always, and let's talk soon. Peace.